What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one we'll be breaking down what's going on with the overall market, what's going on with SPY, testing the QQQ and main tickers in the pre-market. I'm going to talk about some very important levels to watch for and what you should be looking at when it comes to the data that just came out, and give you guys a very nice preview of what's about to happen today, as we're going to have a crazy day. Now, before I break anything down, let me just mention a couple of things. I'm firstly not a financial planner. Take none of this as financial advice. And don't forget about the Moomoo link. The offer ends very soon. Put in $100 and you're guaranteed 5 free stocks with a $100 cash reward. Anyways, let's talk about the market. What on it is going on? The SPY is up about 74 cents in the pre-market as of right now, still holding up quite nicely above that 437 level. And overall, it did make a new high right when the market opened in the pre-market, hitting 437.85, very close to where resistance is. Now, for now, the market is still holding up, looking quite strong. In the PPI that just came out, the report is helping it. I'm just going to briefly go over this before I talk about the charts, by the way. For PPI, we had some pretty decent data. The PPI month over month actually went down by 0.3%. That's below what the forecast was. Core PPI was at 0.2% month over month, which is once again a little bit above the forecast, but very close to what the consensus was. And besides that, the PPI year over year was 1.1%, which was below the forecast. Core PPI was 2.8% below forecasts. So basically everything was as expected, if not lower than expected. And that's some good news for the markets. We could see right here, it's reported that there was a decline of 0.3% in May overall for PPI. Goods fell 1.6%. Services increased 0.2%. So once again, the market is getting a positive response as of right now, still in the green. And once again, we're getting very close to the Fed decision, and the market's continuing to hold up. We're only, at the time of recording this, 5 hours away from the next FOMC. We're very close. This is going to be massive. We have to get ready for this. Let me also add now that the market is so excited, so confident the Fed is going to pause, that now there's a 94% probability and only a 5.8% chance that the Fed is not going to pause and give us another rate hike. If the market gets to pause, we could get an initial very nice reaction, but we still have to be as objective as possible and watch particular resistance levels. So now I'm going to break those down for you. So on SPY, here's the thing, okay? In the morning, we're going to gap up a little bit, most likely. We're holding up okay, but just be careful because we may see an increase in volatility approaching the big rate hike decision. The 30-minute time frame on SPY is showing a slight decline, but we're going to be watching support right here at this 436.65 level. And for now, we're looking pretty nice. We're still holding up nicely, right? It's not looking bad in any way, shape, or form. There's a small bearish divergence right over here on the smaller time frame, so it could decline just a tiny bit, like a 436 retest. But besides that, still holding up nicely, right? But here's the thing: if we get a Fed pause later on, and when is the Fed data coming out? Let me just remind you. 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, the interest rate hike decision comes out. 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, we have the press conference, which is going to be the meeting. The actual meeting starts a little bit after the decision comes out. Just to be clear. So when the decision comes out, we're going to get an initial reaction. If the Fed raises, expect a rug pull. The market's going to get a big rug pull. It's going to tank. SPY is going to come all the way back down, potentially all the way down to like 430 or lower. It's going to be pretty bad. If we get a pause, okay, at 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, the market might try to push up again. If it breaks this 438 resistance, the next really important resistance is going to be 442. But we have some resistance at 438 and also 440. We're likely going to try to break these, and we're going to be testing 442 if we get the pause. But here's the thing, okay? I never told you guys that we're just going to shoot immediately to 450. I told you guys if we got a clean break of 442, we could be on our way to get that over the next couple of trading days, next couple of weeks. But for now, we have to watch this 442 level very carefully. If we break this in a strong manner, we're going to be on our way to about 450 as time progresses. Obviously not in just one day, but if we fail to break 442, we could get a rejection here because resistance is going to be very tough here. Now, that's also going to depend on Powell's words. Powell may cause more volatility. And let's just say we do reject off 442. There's no guarantee the market's just done with. It could always make its way back to 442 in the future and try to break it. But for now, I'm just trying to make it clear. Watch 442. Watch this level very carefully. Okay? If we break it, we could continue to fly. If we get rejected here, this is going to be the next very important level to watch for. I honestly don't know how it's going to go, but I do believe that it's very likely we will test this level as long as we get a pause and the market continues to rip. If we get the pause, the market remains bullish. Even if we do, whether we break 442 immediately or not, if we do get an initial like rejection off of it, we could eventually break it later on. It still is very possible for the market to remain on an uptrend. Not everything has to happen in one day, so that's why you got to watch these levels very carefully. As for Tesla, let me just note that if Tesla, tries to be bullish, you have to look at this on the bigger time frames, like on the 1 hour time frame, for example. It still has a very, very large RSI. It's still quite overbought in some ways. But what's good about Tesla is it's trying to hold above support right now. It's trying to test. It came very close to this 265 area. So right over here, we had that support around 265. And now you're going to be watching this thing. Could this thing hold above 260? Now it looks like it's going to decline by the time we get to the open, but because it gapped up pretty hard, so it's declining a bit, and it may come down to fill this pre-market gap right over here, and then we might see how it reacts to 260. Could it bounce off 260 or not? If it comes down, we could initially see Tesla come down to the 257.5 area. If it holds 260, we could see this thing bounce and get back to 262.5 and just continue to trade sideways until the decision comes out. When the decision comes out, the rate hike decision, we could see Tesla get a very big move. It could break 265 and make its way up to 270. But like I said, we're going to wait for what Powell says. It could cause more volatility. And if we get a pause, whether we get the big breakout immediately or if we get it like a rejection first at these resistance levels, cool off a bit, and then we get a big push up, Tesla could still break out in a much longer time frame. So it may take like a couple of days, could take another couple of weeks before we see Tesla get into the much higher 270s, or even like closer to 290 to 300. It could still happen, but it's not going to happen in one day. That's why you need to be patient with things like this. Let me also add that the QQQ, it still looks pretty good. QQQ is still holding up. It's getting very close to filling this pre-market gap. It still is weakening on the 30-minute time frame, but it's still at a high level. So it's like very mixed. It doesn't look bad on the 30-minute time frame. May decline by the time we get to open. We may see a very, very sideways amount of price action by the time the market comes out. And we're going to wait for what happens with the rate hike decision. If we get that pause, QQQ is going to pump above 365 into these much higher levels, 366 and potentially 368 and 370. It could pause, in my opinion, where the major resistance is getting very close to like 368 or so. It could come all the way up there. But once again, I mean, we're just going to have to watch these levels very, very carefully. And we're going to have to see, does the market manage to break these major resistance levels? Or does the market get a temporary rejection, trade sideways for a bit, and then take a little bit longer to do so? Or does the market just get rug pulled? They're all very possible. And that's why you have to be open-minded. Okay, so watch these support and resistance levels. Same thing with the Nasdaq. Nasdaq is still on a nice, uptrend. It is still not showing major signs of weakness just yet. There's no confirmation. Could keep going or not. Depends on FOMC. And for the rest of these tickers, it's going to depend a lot on what else we're seeing. Aapl is very flat right now on the 30-minute time frame. It's just very flat. It's not really doing anything too significant. It has this pre-market gap it's going to fill, so it's going to decline a little bit more by the time we open. And we're going to be watching the 30-minute 50 EMA support around this 182.98 to 183 level. So we might just see some very boring price action for the time being. Then we're going to get a big reaction depending on what happens with the rate hike decision. And it's going to react very similar to SPY. Don't forget we have this imbalance like right here. There's also support well below 182 just in case it comes down. And besides that, I'm just going to talk about NVIDIA before I end this video from here. I just want to keep this one kind of short. NVIDIA is on a slight decline right now. It is cooling off just a little bit. It came all the way up to 414 in the pre-market, and it's getting very close to where our 405 levels of support could be. So we're going to see a big reaction by NVIDIA depending on what happens with the rate hike. And until then, it may remain very, very, sideways. It's looking pretty weak on the 30-minute time frame, so it may continue to cool off. We're going to see a 405 hold. So if it fails us, could get closer to like the 400 area. But for now, don't worry too much about it. Just wait and be patient and see what happens by the time the rate hike decision comes. We have a couple of hours at hand, so watch your technical indicators, watch your levels, and get ready. It's going to be a wild, wild day. There's going to be lots of volatility as we approach the rate hike decision. When the decision comes out, the market's going to make a huge move, a massive move. And then After that, Jerome Powell speaks 30 minutes after, and the market's going to swing like crazy. It's going to be insane. And then we're going to see a big reaction by the time we get to tomorrow and the next couple of trading days. And then it's going to cause the bigger move. But like I said before on this channel, not all the moves have to happen in one day. It's not like we're going to shoot to the moon in just one day immediately. We could pump to like higher levels, but we're not just going to like, SPY's not going to go to 460 in one day is what I'm trying to say. Tesla's not going to go to 300 in just one day, right? You got to watch the levels, got to be patient, and we'll see what happens, all right? Thank you for listening. Have a great day, guys. I hope you guys kill it today and get ready for Jerome Powell. He has a lot to say. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Market to the moon as the long term is still incredibly bright, and peace out.